What's some language we can use to kind of help maybe even this older generation or parents or older adults kind of better understand their deficiencies and unmet longings? What have you experienced there? What are some language that we can use to help? And I wouldn't even say older generation, that's the question, but just in general, how can we help people understand their deficiencies and the unmet longings?
Two things come to mind what I've seen work. One is this chart and explaining that to people, like regardless of what you call it, like has anybody not shown empathy or not shown love, or have you been criticized, or you ever feel like you don't fit in? Are there things people do that lead to that? What is that? And asking questions. I know with younger people, it's kind of more like that, explaining every time. I mean, lack of empathy, it's like, what does that mean? You ever share something that you're excited about or you're hurt and somebody isn't very caring or says something mean or whatever? What's an example of that? Yeah, okay, that's this. And helping them kind of pinpoint that. Secondly, and I've seen this work with people young and old, like the chart of over time and intensity and frequency and mild, moderate, extreme. Second thing was we're having a meeting with our team, and one of the women in our ministry who's I think in her 50s or 60s shared that sometimes, Ben, we don't know what you're talking about when you share at staff meeting. Like, oh, okay, like what is that? Well, like words like trauma. When we think about trauma, we think about Vietnam and people coming back from overseas, or we think about all these situations. So it would be helpful to define that, explain that, give examples. And I was like, that's really, really good feedback. So for the older generation, I know one of my old mentors was in the Vietnam War and fought there, and he's really big on, okay, when you talk about trauma, attacks, absences, or little t trauma or a big T trauma, and really, really explain that. So a couple things.